Here it is, the 2021 Radio Free Skaro Fluid Links Advent Calendar. One fluid link per day drawn for us to discuss, deliberate, and dismiss in that order. The first one here comes...
It's the 3Ds.
It is the 3Ds. Maybe these will be about Inferno. Production crew.
Is that in 3D?
It is 3D.
The Day of the Doctors.
No, it's
the Day
Serial
of the
Code
Doctors is
3D.
the only.
DDD.
Yeah, there's only two. There are only two episodes
go
that have
ahead.
been made in 3D, and it's Inferno.
That's what I was asking,
And
yes.
then Day of the Doctor in 3D. There you go.
Yes, in different ways, yes.
Many different ways, but also the same way. David Blanchard, DGB259 on the Twitters, asks, two Dalek stories were adapted for the big screen. You have an unlimited budget, so which classic series story would you choose to have a film version of? I think I'd pick the Dinosaur Invasion. That's what he says. So try to not pick Dinosaur Invasion. So classic story.
Oh, it doesn't have to be a Dalek story. Okay.
No,
Okay,
any classic story.
Invasion of the Dinosaurs would be good. Because then you could actually, like, maybe you don't need, like, Jurassic Park level stuff, but you could definitely improve on the visuals from 1974.
That's
because my first thought was Underworld for exactly that same reason.
Right.
Get rid of all the CSO and do something.
Well, you would still be using.
consequential.
You'd be still be using some CSO. You'd be using much better CSO, but you'd be using CSO for sure. Or the modern equivalent thereof.
Well, I still call it CSO because why wouldn't you? That's what it is.
So
That's
do
the
I.
name.
So do I.
It's the name of the process. Chroma key is the name of the brand. Color
I call
separation
anything that
overlay.
looks like videotape vidfire, which I know drives people crazy, which is why I do it.
Does it drive people
So-
crazy? It drives us happy, Warren. It makes us happy.
That's true. That is true. It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think for a serious answer, I think go big or go home.
thought you-
5 Doctors.
But money.
You could do the five Doctors on a heck of a big scale on.
Are we
the big
recasting
screen.
everybody?
No,
Or are we magically have those actors?
I think I'm with Chris, except you have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh,
But
there
they're
you go.
not part of the classic episode.
I don't care. You're redoing it. You have unlimited budget, so like redoing it. Guess what? You're not.
Okay, so we can go beyond what originally
absolutely.
existed.
You're just transposing a story to be.
So why
a
not
film.
6 and 7 and 8?
Well, they don't look like you. I'm just saying, keep it to a theme, and it's modern series. That'd be kind of fun. I don't know. This is your fantasy answer.
Okay, sorry, I got you now. So you're just doing Eccleston through Whittaker as the 5 Doctors. Okay,
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
not them plus the first 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, and plus, I mean, you could have, as an in-joke, you could have Peter Capaldi's Doctor actually punting on the cam, but he actually does get, zapped into the death zone or something like that.
Exactly. But then you got to have the whole other story for him, which is fine because it's a movie. So
It is fine. Then you could have a lot of fun. You could match up who would it would be Eccleston and Rose, and then Tennant and
You gotta have Donna.
Donna.
that's true. You definitely have to.
Donna basically plays the Fraser Hines role. Had Fraser Hines not been too busy to appear in it, and thus they had to move the Brigadier to be a
So which
traveler.
Doctor gets stuck dealing with the Time Lords and basically getting frozen out of all the action? I guess the current one, 13, because 5 was the current one at the time. So
Yeah, so it'd be Whittaker doing that. We might be just predicting the plot of the 60th anniversary special here.
I hope not,
Or the
'cause it
BBC
sounds
100th.
terrible.
Yeah, Jodie Whittaker's last story is basically just the 5 Doctors redux, if you will, but not the redux that was on DVD like in 1995, but like the actual redux. Boy, that's a good thing. I was thinking other stories, but I'm kind of hooked on this 5 Doctors thing now.
I have 2 choices here.
Okay.
But they both require recasting, obviously. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, that I've got great, wonderful recastings, a la David Bradley as the first Doctor for the 4th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Pyramids of Mars is a nice, self-contained haunted house type story, so it'd make a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to really do much to change. You just have to amp up the effects but not too much, because too much effects and then you get The Haunting 1993, which sucked. so you don't want that. You want to have just the right amount of effects, but done in a modern sensibility. Or my other idea is you combine Arc of Infinity and the 3 Doctors together, and you make the big Omega saga, the 3-hour Omega saga with front and back end story of Omega at the beginning, story of Omega afterwards. You make him a somewhat sympathetic, which he kind of already is anyway, sort of sympathetic character, and then you make that for today's audiences. So basically, you make a movie about Omega, and you sort of thread in the three Doctors and what's it called?
Arc of Infinity.
Thank you, Arc of Infinity. Yes.
That's intriguing, man. You've thought about this. It sounds like this. This is
All 5 minutes ago, I thought about this.
wow. That's some. This I feel like we're having a little bit of a storyboard session here. This is all right.
Would you want to go something epic like War Games? Is that a worthwhile?
Well, you actually have to scale War Games down to make it a movie. Even if it's a 3-hour film, you'd still have to scale it down because a lot of it is running back and forth and getting captured and what have you. There has to be a driving force towards something, which I guess happens in the War Games, but it's sort of matter of fact at the end. Oh, here's the Time Lords, by the way. It would have to be precluded at the beginning, and you'd have to work that all the way through.
Yeah.
I mean, the War Games could even be like a prequel to your Omega thing because
it could be.
That's the introduction of the Time Lords.
Yeah, and then stay tuned next time for Omega, which disappoints all the audience who are like, oh, I get to see the further adventures of this new second Doctor. And it turns out it's about Omega.
It's just Omega. And it's just a one-word title. It's like just an origin story of Omega. And it's just like he walks down some stairs and shoots some guy in a talk show or something. And it's just like, yep, that's Omega. And then he creates Gallifrey.
That sounds awful familiar.
Yeah, I know.
And in the last of the trilogy, he could be an egg farmer, Omega 3.
That's terrible. That is why, Chris, you should be a Hollywood executive because your ideas and notes are terrible, and yet I have to work around them to get this thing to happen.
That's true. I've always sort of said that City of Death is your perfect big screen. It's in a foreign location. You can go back in time. You can have a big name actor as the main villain. It involves time travel and like the Mona Lisa. Everyone knows what the Mona Lisa is. I feel like that would be a thing. But actually, now that I think about it, like if you want to like do big giant space epic, and maybe even work in a celebrity historical aspect, and then
Earthshock,
and then have a great budget for a terrifying alien race or two, I think that the perfect recipe for a big budget Doctor Who film version is Time Lash.
I see where you're going with this, and I half agree.
Yep, it's happening. I'm gonna. The Borad can be like. The Borad has good makeup anyway. But then like I think at some point you would insert a little scene where like there's people on Carful like playing with felt sock puppets of Bandrels, but then we'll actually see an actual Bandrel and he's terrifying. He's like the 456 or something in Torchwood, and then there's
it'll never happen because for a bunch of reasons, but also because nobody would ever remake Time Lash.
Oh no, but they are. And then like Timothy Chalamet will be like H.G. Wells, and he'll be with Doctor Who, whatever, Ewan McGregor as the Doctor, and they'll have fun in the TARDIS and be bickering and stuff, and yep.
All this made me think of, and this is not in the original remake, what if Netflix did a 10-part, drudge-filled, sloppy-looking miniseries of the Caves of Androzani? Because I could just see them dragging it out way past where it needs to go.
Yeah. That like the Magma Beast would be like, there'd be a whole episode on its own, like a basically an origin story of the Magma Beast.
Oh, exactly.
It would be episode 7 when they're...
You see his wife and kids.
Yeah. Then he goes
You see him before he became, what's his name? Sharaz Jack.
He'd be he'd come home with not enough food again, and his wife would chew him out and yell at him because how can we feed our children on the scraps you bring home, and all the strife and the reason behind his anger.
Yeah, nobody cares. We just want to see a noble and deformed creature who is very angry and wants to kill his mortal enemy Morgus, who deserves to be killed. So,
coming soon to Netflix, Magma.
Or Jack. Let's just call it Jack.
Jack. That's true. So there we go. We've created 8 movies and a Netflix series. That is pretty much what Russell T Davies is probably going to bring to Doctor Who coming in 2023.
Just call me Warren Feige Fry.